This is Ketra of Bonus Roll Productions, here with our continuing coverage of the Dragonflight Alpha. Today, we are taking a look at the Dragonflight Priest talent trees. Just to make it clear early on, it is very likely that any and all of these talents could be changed before they make it to the live game. But despite that fact, we could still glean some insight into what the Priest gameplay will look like come Dragonflight. Like all talent trees in Dragonflight, the Priest class has one general Priest tree that doesn't change between the 3 specs and one tree for each specialization: Holy, Discipline, and Shadow. Let's start by looking at the general Priest tree. All of these talents are already existing spells or effects with the exception of Holy Word Life, which we will get to in a moment. There are 2 starting nodes, Prayer of Mending and Shadow Word Death. Holy and Discipline will be getting both of these talents for free, while Shadow only gets Shadow Word Death and will have to spend a point to get Prayer of Mending. From these 2 nodes, Blizzard seems to have given us 2 very distinct and different paths on each side, plus a utility path in the middle. Following the tree downward from Shadow Word Death gives us a heavy focus on damage with talents such as Improved Mind Blast, Shadow Fiend, and Shadow Flame Prism, which you'll recognize as one of 3 Shadowlands legendaries they have chosen to keep. Following the middle path gives us notable spells such as Power Infusion, Leap of Faith, Mass Dispel, Twins of the Sun Priestess, which is the second legendary that has been 100% copied, and Mind Games, the Venthyr Covenant ability. Holding strictly to the Prayer of Mending side of the tree will grant the baseline healing spell Renew, enhance healing done while Renew is on a target, a couple talents that might make Holy Nova viable, and introduce the new spell Holy Word Life, a word of holy power that heals the target. If the target is not below 20% health, the caster takes damage equal to the amount healed, while healing is increased by 150% to targets below 20% health. This is an instant cast and has a 30-second cooldown. I can't see any priest opting out of Power Infusion and Mass Dispel from the center of the tree, but depending on the spec and what type of content you are playing, I can see quite a big variety of paths being used. One for pure raid healing in Holy and Discipline, one for simply pumping as much damage as possible in Shadow, or while healing Mythic Plus, and perhaps even a possibility for a hybrid class to emerge, a Shadow Priest that off-heals? Time will tell if that's a viable path. Now, let's dive into the spec-specific trees, and let's start with Holy. If you're a raider and are hoping for a big shakeup, this ain't it. All baseline healing spells will make a return with the possibility of running some talents simultaneously that was not possible in Shadowlands. For example, you can have Binding Heal, Guardian Angel, and Afterlife all at the same time. In Shadowlands, they were all on the same talent row, meaning you could only have one at a time. All of the major healing cooldowns are returning: Divine Hymn, Guardian Spirit, and a choice of Holy Word Salvation and Apotheosis. Light of the Naru, the current Shadowlands' 3rd choice on the last row of the talent tree, can be found higher up and can as such be chosen together with either of the 2. Oh, and also Lightwell makes a return. The big shakeup from Shadowlands gameplay in the Holy Tree is the Holy Fire talents. With Burning Vehemence reducing the cast time and cooldown of the spell, Searing Light increasing Smite and Holy Nova damage dealt to targets affected by Holy Fire, and Rune of Fire causing Holy Fire to reduce the cooldown of Holy Word Chastise, it seems that they want to give Holy an opportunity to actually do some damage. The cherry on top of this Holy Fire sundae is Imperial Blaze, refreshing Holy Fire, making your next 3 casts cost no mana, incur no cooldown, and cast instantly. With a cooldown of 30 seconds, it seems like a good fit for Mythic Plus, a way to apply the dot on several mobs for each pool and maybe do some decent Smite or Holy Nova damage. With improved Holy Nova and Tools of the Cloth and the General Priest tree, I could see a Holy Nova meta evolving from this. Holy Priest also has a new pure healing talent, Divine Words. It increases the healing or damage of your next Holy Word spell and gives a Divine Favor for 15 seconds depending on which spell you cast. Holy Word Serenity makes Flash Heal, Heal and Renew heal 4 more, critically strike more often, and cost less mana. Holy Word Sanctify blesses the area where it was cast and continues to heal allies. Think Healing Rain from the Resto Shaman. Finally, Holy Word Chastise gets an increase in damage and gives Smite a chance to apply Holy Fire, another option for the Holy Fire build. Moving on to Shadow, this is a tree that has a lot of variety. The first thing that sticks out is that you can choose to entirely opt out of Void form or go full Void Eruption and choose both Ancient Madness and one of the either Hungering, Void, or Surrender to Madness, all 3 of which are currently in row talents in Shadowlands. But the most interesting choice is that of which idol you will choose. N'Zoth, Ysarj, Cthulhu or Yogg-Saron. The Idols of N'Zoth and Isarge come at the end of a path that heavily relies on vampiric touch and shadowy apparitions, with talents such as Auspicious Spirits, Psychic Link, and Sanguine Teachings, which increases damage from vampiric touch and Devouring Plague while shielded. Choosing the Idol of N'Zoth will give damage dealt by Shadow Word Pain, Vampiric Touch, and Devouring Plague a 20% chance to apply Echoing Void. Echoing Void will then either keep stacking each time it procs, or have a chance of collapsing, dealing damage to all nearby enemies. The Idol of Isarge, on the other hand, simply enhances Shadow Fiend. The tooltip says that the Fiend causes you to gain a benefit based on your target's current emotional state. Very Shaw of them, taking some inspiration from Mists of Pandaria. It's not entirely clear what these emotional states are, but it seems to be the set it and forget it choice. On the other side of the tree, we have the Idols of Cthulhu and Yogg-Saron. The path to these old gods is paved with single target and bursty intentions with talents such as Monomania that increases the tick rate of your dots, Void Torrent, and Mind Devour. Cthulhu will give Mind Flay and Mindseer a chance to spawn a Void Tendril or Void Lasher, depending on which spell procs it, that channels at your target, dealing damage and generating insanity. Yogg-Saron summons a Thing from Beyond after you conjure 50 shadowy apparitions, and that then blasts enemies for 20 seconds. I see a lot of possibilities for adaptation in this tree, but I have a feeling it will come down to the tuning of each idol. If the Thing from Beyond is super strong, there is no reason to not spec heavily into shadowy apparitions and just spam Vampiric Touch and Mind Blast. A last thing to note is that they have brought back the possibility to run Talbatter's Stratagem, the Shadowlands legendary, although it has a new name, Insidious Ire. It's a bit hard to get to in the tree, but I'm sure it will have its uses on patchwork fights. Finally, we take a look at the Discipline tree. While many if not most spells and talents are making a return, there is one early addition that could potentially change up the Discipline gameplay. Inner Light and Shadow allows you to switch between Inner Light and Inner Shadow, the light version reducing the mana cost of healing spells by 15%, and Shadow increasing spell damage and atonement healing by 10%. After this, we have one side of the talent tree that seems to focus on group healing with talents that enhance Power Word, Radiance, and Penance. Contrition returns from the current Shadowlands tree, making your Penance heal everyone with Atonement. Evenfall then allows Power Word, Radiance a chance to grant Power of the Dark Side, which in turn empowers your next Penance. And new talent, Lesson in Humility, makes Smite deal additional damage if you have at least 3 Atonements active. At the bottom of this side of the tree, we have Harsh Discipline, making your next Penance free and fire 3 additional bolts after Atonement has healed 100 times, which is a tweak of the Shadowlands legendary, the Penitent one. On the other side of the tree, we have talents that heavily rely on Power of the Dark Side and, once again, Penance. With Dark Indulgence making Power of the Dark Side buff your Penance, and Shadow Covenant increasing your Shadow spells damage and healing while reducing your Holy spells damage and healing, we have a tree that seemingly encourages fewer atonements and more damage dealt. At the very bottom, we have a Wickedness, making Divine Star deal additional damage over 6 seconds and silencing enemies for 2 seconds, and making Halo deal additional damage over 6 seconds and reducing its cooldown for each enemy hit. In the middle of these two paths, we have trusty old Power Word Barrier returning, and shiny new Light's Wrath, a single target spell that increases in damage for each ally affected by Atonement. A new way to funnel damage on a patchwork fight? And that is a rough overview of the new Priest talent trees. While there are many ways these trees can be used and changed up, this video aimed to give you an overview of what new talents we have and what might change come Dragonflight. Thank you for watching, and remember to never adventure alone.